only by pure hatred. On the 11th of January 2015, you were with us, Mr. Prime Minister, when we walked the streets of Paris and we cried for our dead. You told us that the Israeli people were in solidarity with us, and I would like to say that today French people are in solidarity with you. 30 French citizens were assassinated by Hamas, and for my country, this is the most murderous terrorist attack since 2016. It is a black day in history for us. With Israel, we also share this terrible situation, which is the hostage situation. More than 200 hostages are held, and 9 of them are French. This is more hostages than we have ever witnessed in current modern history. It is difficult to imagine these children being held in captivity. I met with some of the families of these hostages. I wanted to share with them in their stress and their distress, and I wanted to assure them that we will do everything that is possible to ensure the security of our citizens. Working with you, with Israel and other partners, we are working to achieve freedom for all of the hostages held in Gaza. They must all be freed. For France, this is a priority. And for this, we must do everything possible so that Hamas frees all of these hostages. And I would like to thank all of those who are participating in these negotiation discussions. I also wanted to tell you that we are fighting together with you against our shared enemy, terrorism. Israel has a legitimate right to defend itself against those who are seeking to destroy the country. This is a just cause. Hamas is a terrorist group whose objective is the destruction of Israel. This is the same with Daesh, Al-Qaeda, and others who have associated with these groups in actions and intent. Your priority, but also the priority of all democracies, and therefore of France, is to stand by you to defeat these terrorist groups. We have been struck hard ourselves by these groups, and I can say quite simply, you are not alone. This is why France is prepared to work with an international coalition against Daesh, and we did so in Iraq and in Syria, and we will do so again against Hamas. I would like to suggest to our international partners, as I suggested to you this morning, that we could build a regional and international coalition to fight against the terrorist groups that threaten us all. I think it is in the interest of Israel and its security, and also in the interest of neighboring states who are threatened by these same groups. The fight must be merciless, but not without law, because we are democracies, and we are fighting against terrorists. Democracies respect the rules of war and ensure humanitarian access. Democracies do not target civilians, neither in Gaza nor elsewhere. The respect of population means, therefore, that we must allow aid to come into Gaza and to reestablish, and we've spoken at length and in detail about this, we must reestablish electricity for hospitals and ensure that this electricity is not misappropriated to the ends of war. And this should be taking place in the coming days. We would also like to provide support to all of the populations, as we have done in recent months and, in fact, in recent years, and we will be continuing to discuss this. We are willing to discuss with your immediate neighbors also with regard to providing aid. We wish to avoid the escalation of war in the region. I would like to send a warning to Hezbollah, to forces in Iran and other forces that are threatening Israel. Do not take the risk of widening this regional conflict, of opening new fronts. This would be opening the door to an escalation in which there would be no winners. For all of the people of the region, we must do everything possible not to pour more tears on tears, more blood on blood. I would like to draw everyone's attention to the acts of several people against Palestinian civilians that is causing the threat of further violence in the West Bank as well. In order to find sustainable peace, we can only hope to achieve this with the political support of the Palestinian people. Hamas is a terrorist group, and it is not the standard bearer for the Palestinian cause. It must be fought, and we must listen to reasonable Palestinian forces. Regional stability, return to normalization can only take place if Israel defends its security, fights against violence, but also accepts the legitimate right of Palestinians to have a state, to live in peace and in security side by side with Israel, because it will have integrated the existence and the security of Israel as a primary condition. The security of Israel, the shared struggle against terrorism, the respect of humanitarian law, opening political perspectives. All of these elements are necessary. We must act here and now. We must fight against terrorism, and we must offer hope. Once again, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you for your welcome. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your commitment against terrorism. And in the coming hours, we will continue to work together. We will define a list of actions. I will be going to Ramallah at the end of the day. Tomorrow, I will be with other regional leaders to see how we can move forward on our agenda.
But because I'm lucid about the fact that this fight against terrorism is obviously a matter of existence for Israel. But it's a matter of existence for all of us. This is why we discussed together, and I just reminded this issue, but I consider that this is an international coalition in order to fight against these terrorist groups that we have to build. I just reminded my people in my language what we discussed about fight against terrorism, humanitarian action, rules to be respected, but as well political process. And obviously, I warned against any escalation, and I warned Hezbollah and some other regimes not to be part of what's happening. We had a very precise discussion, and I want to thank you for that. Now we will follow up this discussion in the coming hours in order to see what we can improve in the coming days, but I'm sure in the coming weeks and months. I know how committed you are. Let me express once again my solidarity, my friendship, and the fact that France stands with you in this awful terrorist act you had to experience. We are with your people.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Since you mentioned the regional aspects, let me say a word about that. There is a battle here between the axis of evil led by Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, their minions, who are fighting to bring back the Middle East, the world, to the early Middle Ages, with that kind of barbarism, with bondage, with slaughter, with murder. And there's the axis of the free world and the moderates who want to bring the world to the progress and prosperity of the 21st century. This is the battle. It's engaged now. The test for the West and for civilization is Hamas. If Hamas emerges victorious, we will all lose. Europe will be endangered. Everyone will be endangered. Civilization will be endangered. So if Hamas wins, if Hamas loses and is defeated, then the forces of civilization win. That is why this battle is not merely our own. It's Europe's battle. It's America's battle. It's civilization's battle. It's the battle for the heart and soul and the future of the Middle East and the Arab world. I think many understand that, but there's no going around the fact that we must have a decisive victory against Hamas. If Hezbollah makes the mistake of joining this war in a significant way, it will regret it. They will long for the second Lebanon war, which they regretted. because they're embedding themselves like Hamas in the civilian population in Lebanon, we will have to take action against them. And the devastation against Hezbollah will be unimaginable. So I hope they heed your warning, our warning, the warning of the United States not to do so. But if they will, they'll suffer horrible consequences. We have to join together and win. The forces of civilization, progress, have to win. That goes through the defeat of Hamas. I thank you, Emmanuel, for everything you said, and thank you for coming here, standing with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.